The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 290. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is a yoga instructor, and I'm just really glad to have her on and share her story with us. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Steph Kang. Steph, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Kang. I'm doing great. I am a yoga instructor based out of Los Angeles, and I'm very passionate about just helping people find their inner truth, your inner passion through yoga, meditation, and just that finding connection to your true self within, as well as connecting to that oneness with nature, with pet, surrounding, things like that. And I'm originally from Korea, Seoul, Korea. I was born in Seoul, Korea, and I moved to US when I was 11. I grew up in Santa Monica.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Steph, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
My favorite self-confidence quote is that no one is special and everyone is special.
I like that. It's actually the first time I've heard it, because a lot of people feel like they don't have anything to contribute to the world, or they don't have any skills or talents. Not realizing that each one of us has a certain skill or talent that nobody else has in this planet. So, to know that we are all special in our own way, that's how we can bring out who we are and what we can do. So thanks for sharing that. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
I think self-confidence coming from knowing who you are, not influenced by others' opinions. Yeah, and then honoring that,
Yeah, I totally agree, especially growing up as an Asian woman. We're always influenced by our peers or family telling us what to do or what we should do versus what we want to do. So when we can go out there and do our own thing and not be afraid of what others may think, that's when we can go live life to the fullest, live our truth. So I like that definition that you mentioned. And what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
It was definitely trying to please my parents, especially like coming from that Asian background. You're always seeking for approval from the parents and trying to do what you think would please them.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something most Asian women go through, right? Learning, doing our best to make our parents proud, thinking that if we do good, that's when they will only love us, not realizing that our parents will love us regardless of what happens. And, growing up with Asian parents, they're not always as expressive, so it's hard to tell, right?
Yes.
We know deep inside that they do love us regardless of what we do. So, what was that point in your life when you realized, you didn't have to be people-pleasing or seeking for approval? What was that aha moment in your life?
Well, sometimes tragedy happens. So for me, it's pretty extreme. I was working at a bank, and I was robbed at gunpoint. So for me, it took that to realize.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry about
it's
that.
It's pretty extreme than most people.
But sometimes it takes extreme events like that to realize that life is short and you have to go out there and, live your life. Sorry, when you mentioned that, I was like, whoa. But, it's great to know that, like, something that crazy can help you realize, like, life is short. Go out there and do what you love. Instead of working at the bank, you're a yoga instructor. You're doing what you want to do versus what's safe or what's right according to, society or your family. And, because of that incident, like, what's your life been like now?
Well, that changed everything. So initially, back then, I was always passionate about becoming a graphic designer. So I actually went back to school for graphic design. I was a graphic designer for 16 years. So I think before that happened, like Oprah always says, the universe gives you whispers, and if you don't listen to it, it keeps giving like stronger signal until you would listen to it. So I think, I was that stubborn person that didn't listen to the whispers, which is why it took such an extreme event for me to make those changes. And from then on, I always just follow, my heart. So I was happily doing graphic design for 16 years. And then the yoga instructor thing came out later, and it just happened more organically because I'm always more in tune with, what is right for me.
Thanks for sharing that. And I like how you said that yoga organically happened, like it just happened naturally. And I think we forget that, when things happen naturally, that's when we can like live our life, go out there and, be able to live our truth, be that authentic person because we love it so much. It just naturally happens and people can see how much you love what you do. And, I'm glad the universe was able to give you a whisper. I don't know if being held at gunpoint is considered a whisper, but maybe a loud whisper.
No, what I'm saying is I didn't listen to probably all the whispers that happened before.
And then
that's why it took like a big shouting for me to make a change is what I was trying to say, because Oprah says like you always get the whisper. If you don't listen to it, then something worse until you listen to it. Incrementally something worse, like a louder voice will kind of try to nudge you in the right direction. And if you don't listen to it, like the whole wall can just crumble.
I totally agree. So maybe whisper wasn't the word, but sometimes we can be so stubborn, right? I know I can be stubborn, and it takes like, kind of like falling in your face to realize like, okay, it's time to wake up and realize.
Back then I was very rigid, very stubborn, very much into the parent pleasing. So I wouldn't have been able to hear the whispers at all.
Well, I'm glad you're able to hear them now. And, and if our listeners were tuning into your episode, they may be in a similar journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to them?
I think, sometimes people mistake self-confidence as being perfect at what you want to do, but you don't have to wait for you to be really good at whatever you want to do to have the self-confidence. Self-confidence is just believing that you're going in the right path and just knowing that you're giving your best and doing your best at each moment.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, it's just always about taking action, right, regardless what happens. As women, especially like Asian women, we're afraid to make a mistake, not realizing it's part of the process. Having
a sense of humor and allowing yourself to make the mistake and just putting yourself out there. And then the more you do it and get more comfortable with it, then that's when you build your confidence. You can't wait to have the confidence first before taking the actions.
I totally agree with you. So thanks for sharing those awesome tips. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with? Yes,
all my social media handles are Turtle Flow Yoga, like the animal, TURTLEFLOW Yoga. And that's also my website, turtleflowyoga.com. And if you go and sign up for my newsletter, I offer PDF of a chair yoga sequence. You can do it at work so that you can be more tension-free while at work.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Steph, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Steph's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just want to thank Steph for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem. It was a pleasure having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll catch you later. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Want to learn how you can use podcasting to market your business? Download your free report by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.